Spain defeats France and becomes the first team to qualify for the 2026 World Cup final in a match that ended 2-0, a complete Spanish dismantling against the team considered the best offensively, at least on paper, in this World Cup. And they did it seemingly not with sexy football, but with very efficient play, ironclad defense, very disciplined defending, a team that plays like a unit. And there aren't many like that, both in terms of ball movement, in terms of the well-timed pressing, and especially in terms of covering for each other. And soon Alice how they stopped not only France but also teams like Portugal and Belgium and made teams suffer until they managed to reach Spain's goal area. In this match they contained the attacking quartet, which I believe is the best. Everyone saw that during this World Cup. 16 goals so far. Mbappe, Barcola, Olise and Dembele. On the bench they have Zaire Emery, Desiré Doué. They really have two squads that could win just with their attacking side. But when it comes to the midfield and the defensive part, that has always been the small weak point, let's say, of the French, and Spain simply managed to take advantage of that. And they managed to control the center of the midfield. But their midfield, especially Rodri and Ruiz, do a lot of covering work, which I think goes beyond the masterclass we've seen from Rodri throughout his career. He's the most efficient player you can have and doesn't get enough credit for it. So yes, Spain's ball movement is there, but Rodri does such a good job not only in managing the game and moving the ball, but also in reading the game, being one step ahead defensively without the ball, covering, closing spaces, everything. And in this game, what they tried to do throughout was always bring Rodri or Ruiz back to play as a sort of third center-back who drops back to cover the sides. If the ball is played on France's left side, then Rodri drops back. This also, in some cases, gives Cubarsí the freedom to push forward and be more aggressive because he knows there's someone behind him covering. But it also never leaves France at any point in the game in a one-on-one against a Spanish player, so that if he gets past the Spanish player, he gets a good chance at goal. There's always an extra player there to cover, at least one. And that's teamwork. It's not just Rodri and Ruiz, because the moment Rodri drops back to be a third center-back, Dani Olmo drops back and covers his position in midfield. Oyarzabal, who is ultimately the striker, also drops back and helps with this covering. It's a team effort from the whole squad. There's a reason why the French, who are such a good attacking team, had such a hard time against Spain and why Spain managed to neutralize them almost completely. Of course, that's also a result of the players' abilities and the very high football intelligence that the players in the squad have. Cubarsí, just 19, plays with the skill and composure of a seasoned 30-year-old center-back, excelling at defensive coverage. No matter how skilled a player is in defense or attack, you never leave him alone. Everyone helps each other. And there's a very clear system, and of course add to that the fact that even in the attacking part, the Spanish national team is excellent when it comes to ball movement. It's not for nothing that people often call them sideways, because in the end, this is a team that's so good at moving the ball that many times they don't play directly. In this World Cup, I think this squad is maybe the least flashy we've seen from the Spanish national team in the attacking part, and actually the one who's supposed to be the star, Lamine Yamal, hasn't really shown up at the World Cup so far, even though he drew the penalty against the French national team. I saw that quite a few people talked about the possibility of a handball there, meaning they thought the hand should be checked and the penalty disallowed. Honestly, to me that seems far-fetched, because first of all, the movement of the hand is close to the body. He touches him here on the back of the hand. It's clear to everyone that this is not a completely natural body movement, because he's afraid of getting kicked in the groin, so he turns his body here, but the hand still stays close. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not a referee, but that's my analysis of the situation. In my eyes, it should be a penalty. It shouldn't be considered a handball or anything like that. And the main culprit here in the end is Dine, who committed the foul. Ultimately, what sets Spain apart, aside from their team defense, sometimes called parking the bus, which is understandable, is their high quality as a team. Spain faced a very strong attacking team with great individual skills. They neutralized the French style. Notice Spain's midfield trio and their positioning. When France attacks, each player covers for another. Rodri acts as a third center-back, Fabian Ruiz takes Rodri's spot, and Dani Olmo moves into Fabian Ruiz's position. Yes, maybe it's not the most beautiful soccer, and people usually don't like to focus on the tactical aspects, but these are the things that make the difference in the end in matches between the big teams. They did it against Portugal too, and they've been doing it throughout the whole tournament. That's why it's so hard to create chances against them, because you have to get past 3 players just to reach an opening. Pay attention here to this situation. Cucurella isn't even marking Olise, it's Baena who's dropping back to mark him. That means if Olise wants to go one-on-one, he actually has to beat 2 players. So in this case, he releases the ball to Dembele, who's next to him and comes to receive it, and then Dembele faces 2 players. This time it's Cucurella and Oyarzabal, who dropped from the striker position, and Fabian Ruiz is with Koundé, who's there in the box and making the move to get a defender. What France was really missing was that Griezmann type of player, the one who knows how to control the tempo, who knows how to release the ball quickly, who doesn't have to go into a dribble every time he gets the ball at his feet. And that's exactly the opposite of Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, and Barcola, who are all extremely talented players, but they always try to win with one-on-one dribbling. Spain! Throughout the whole match, hardly gave them the opportunity for one-on-one dribbling, and even if they did win a one-on-one dribble, another player would come to help. It's important to note that discussing these tactics is much easier than implementing them or analyzing them after the fact, especially since not every team has players like Rodri or Fabian Ruiz who can drop back to centre-back, defend well, and manage the game effectively. It's a combination of a team that may not have flashy names, but it has effective players, and players who play the game the right way to win, and that's exactly what they did here. So it's not that every team obviously can play this way and neutralize the French team, but even before the tournament started, the reason I personally didn't pick the French to win the tournament was purely because of their defensive midfield and their defensive side. Because in my eyes, that was their weak point, and they still could have won. They were the favorites all along. But I personally chose Portugal because in my mind, I saw Portugal playing like Spain in a certain way, especially when it comes to intensity in the midfield and controlling the pace of the game, and I thought the Portuguese could do that all the way. They lost, but the Spanish team did to them what they did to the French team and completely neutralized them. In my view, they're clear favorites for Sunday's World Cup final at 10 o'clock. And tonight we'll also know who they'll be facing. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Yisrael Chai. Alright, bye.